Breaking news on Russia and Ukraine.
The White House is warning that a Russian attack on Ukraine could begin any day.
World War II was a war of necessity. But if Russia attacks Ukraine, it would be a war of choice.
Yeah, things look pretty serious this time, as a country with highest number of nukes is planning to invade its neighbor, which is backed by USA and its allies. How serious the situation actually is, we're gonna break it down in this video. As Russia states clearly, it has no plans to attack Ukraine, but the threat is being taken seriously because Russia invaded Ukraine in 2014 and seized its territory. And it doesn't help either that more than 100,000 Russian troops have been deployed close to Ukraine's border, and reported 30,000 more engaged in exercises in Belarus, close to its 674 miles border with Ukraine. NATO says it sees no sign of de-escalation, and that Russia still has a massive invasion force which can attack from Crimea to Belarus. What is not known that whether Vladimir Putin has decided on it. Ukraine's president has appealed to the West that not to spread panic, and France believes Mr. Putin's main aim is to gaining a better security deal. Mr. Putin insists Russia does not want a war and is ready to negotiate. Now the question arises, why is Russia threatening Ukraine? The answer to that question is simple, that Russia has long resisted Ukraine's movement towards European institutions, both NATO and European Union. Its core demand now is for the West to guarantee that Ukraine will not join NATO, which is a defensive alliance of 30 countries. Now Ukraine shares borders with both the European Union and Russia, but as a former Soviet republic, it has deep social and cultural ties with Russia, and Russian is widely spoken there. When Ukrainians deposed their pro-Russian president in early 2014, Russia captured Ukrainian southern Crimean peninsula and backed separatists who captured large area of eastern Ukraine. The rebels have fought the Ukrainian military ever since in the conflict that has claimed more than 14,000 lives. Now the question arises, what Russia demands from NATO and what it considers to be a future threat. Russia has spoken about the moment of truth in recasting its relationship with NATO. For us, it's absolutely mandatory to ensure Ukraine never ever become a part of NATO, said Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov. President Putin explained that if Ukraine joins NATO, the alliance might try to recapture Crimea. In President Putin's eyes, the West promised back in 1990 that NATO would not expand an inch to the east, but it did it anyway. Now the important question is that how far will West go for Ukraine? The US and other NATO allies have made it clear that they have no plans to send combat troops to Ukraine itself, but are instead offering support. The Pentagon has put 8,500 combat-ready troops on alert and is deploying 3,000 extra soldiers to Germany, Romania and Poland. Now it is yet to be seen that what would a deal look like. A potential agreement would have to cover both the war in eastern Ukraine and the wider security issues as well. A shaky ceasefire is in place, but talks involving Russia, Ukraine, France and Germany on reviewing the Minsk Peace Agreement of 2014 and 2015 have so far failed to find a breakthrough. In the scenario of ongoing conflict, many Western leaders stayed away from recent opening of Beijing Winter Olympics, but China's President Xi Jinping still managed to attract a star guest, Russia's Vladimir Putin. After talks and dinner, a more than 5,000 words joint statement by two leaders denounced American interference in their affairs and opposed further expansion and enlargement of NATO. The meeting shows how the growing threat of war over Ukraine is accelerating a major realignment in geopolitics, pushing Moscow and Beijing to a closer diplomatic relations. Now Russia will look towards China to reduce the impact of Western sanctions that might follow the assault on Ukraine. China will also demand Russian support for its own regional ambitions over Taiwan. These recent series of events are not only interesting but contributes in global shift of power, which is not happening for the first time ever. We have seen similar incidents in the history, but we should be optimistic for the better outcome this time. Thanks for watching. See you later. Peace.